Before the college entrance exam, my childhood sweetheart fell in love with the school bully who dyed his hair blonde. The two of them skived off classes, went to internet cafes, hung out together all day, and even gave away their chastity. I couldn't bear to see her go astray, so I told her parents about it. As a result, Mr. Taylor and Mrs. Taylor were furious when they heard and made a scene at the school. The bully was beaten by his father until his head was bleeding and his ribs were broken, and then he transferred schools and disappeared without a trace. Years later, I married my childhood sweetheart. When she learned of the school bully's death, she not only used my trust to secretly transfer the assets, she also schemed to burn me to death. At the funeral, my parents and relatives and friends cried like fountains. But that woman, whose heart was like venom, knelt before my charred corpse, trembling uncontrollably, emotionally stirred, whispering to herself, "If it weren't for you, our child wouldn't have died, and he wouldn't have died either. If we had had a child, we would have been happier and more loving. This fire was set by me. I wanted to burn you to death, you bastard. Your house, your savings, and that huge insurance payout. I'll take them all. Ha ha ha. Now that things have come to this, I, reborn as a spirit, watched everything happen but could do nothing. Damn it, bitch. If I could do it over, I would never spare you. Aren't I a little busy, please? Ethan Gidge. Just tell my parents we went to Starbucks to study. Okay." Hearing that familiar coquettish voice by my ear, I snapped awake. Could it be that I was reincarnated? Looking at this pretty face in front of me, my expression was cold and full of disdain, as if I were staring at a pile of dog shit. Seeing the coldness on my face, Sophia Taylor immediately blazed with anger. "Ethan Johnson, fine if you won't help me, but what's with that look of disgust?" Probably sensing my mood was off, she then softened, hugged my arm like when we were kids, and began to act coquettish. "My dear brother Ethan, please help me. Okay?" Watching Sophia Taylor act cute and beg for favor from me, my smile gradually grew gentle. "Screw you, you venomous woman. Hurry up and lock that scumbag down. All right, I promise you. Remember to come home early, or Uncle and Annie will worry." Sophia Taylor is my childhood friend. True to her name, she looks pleasing to everyone. She's tall with fair skin and is recognized as the school beauty. At the Senior 1 opening ceremony, she spoke as an outstanding new student representative, making all the boys and girls envious. She was both beautiful and talented, the girls' acknowledged goddess among the boys at school. To them, Sophia Taylor was like the bright moon in the heavens, something to be admired from afar, utterly out of reach. Naturally, I became the enemy of every boy in the school. Sophia Taylor was introverted and polite to everyone, yet kept her distance. Only I was the most special one among those millions. She was close only to me. Our two families were neighbors and as close as one family. When we were kids, Mr. and Mrs. Taylor were often too busy with the company to leave, so they entrusted my mother to take care of her. There were always brothers and friends teasing me. "You're really lucky, kid. Such a rich, beautiful girl grew up with you like a childhood sweetheart, like a child bride. Yeah, Ethan, when you two get married and you make it big, don't forget about us good buddies." Every time I heard words like that, my heart was full of joy. I also thought it was truly heaven's favor, allowing me to have such a good match. Until Jake Miller barged into Sophia Taylor's life. Jake Miller was the blonde school bully at our school, with a perverse and violent temperament and a history of misdeeds. But he had a handsome face. Just one look and Sophia Taylor was completely undone. Sophia Taylor, like a moth to a flame, fell madly in love with him. In my past life, I was young and soft-hearted. I couldn't withstand her desperate pleas and agreed to help her hide it from her parents, so she could run wild with Jake Miller. From then on, Jake Miller became the apple of her eye. Ethan Gidge, Jake is so pitiful. His parents divorced long ago, and his father is a lousy gambler. Whenever things go wrong, his father drinks and beats him. Jake really has no sense of security. He says I'm the only light in his miserable life. "Ethan Gidge, I think I can save him." Hearing those words, I felt bitter and jealous, but didn't know what to do and could only watch helplessly. Gradually, she began to distance herself from me and stuck to Jake Miller all day. Her grades also plummeted, and skipping classes became a regular occurrence. She even dared to brazenly not participate in the city-wide mock exams. Until that day, I saw the two of them come out of the small and near the school. their faces full of contentment. I couldn't bear it any longer. That night, when her parents asked about the recent situation, I didn't hide anything for Sophia Taylor. I told them the whole truth. Mr. and Mrs. Taylor were furious after hearing it. They stormed the school and made a scene, even threatening to call the police and accuse Jake Miller of rape, to have him thrown in jail. When he heard how serious it was, Jake Miller's father flew into a rage. He grabbed a wooden stool and beat Jake Miller on the spot until his head was cut and bleeding. No one could stop him. It wasn't until the police finally arrived that they subdued him. After that, Jake Miller disappeared from our sight and there was no more news of him. And just like that, our lives returned to normal. Years later, just as everyone had expected, Sophia Taylor and I got married, and my father-in-law's company was handed over to me to manage. At the wedding, my best friends raised their glasses and drank heartily, very happy. One of them, teasingly, said, "Do you guys remember that Jake Miller from school? He never actually transferred. He went out of town to work as a male escort. He's been living it up way too hard. Last month, he was caught betting a rich woman by her husband, and that husband was not someone to be trifled with. He turned around and bribed two madmen to tear him to pieces with knives. TSK, TSK, TSK. You guys haven't seen the scene. It was terrible. His genitals were hacked until they were a bloody mess. His intestines were pulled out and scattered on the ground. It was horrific. Ethan, today's your big day. Why bring that up? Come drink." Hearing that, I only smiled slightly. In truth, I was elated, finally got a bit of revenge. But I didn't notice that Sophia Taylor's expression beside me had grown very strange. In the months that followed, she kept acting coy with me, saying she felt insecure and the like, and persuaded me to hand over control of the household finances to her. I dote on her, so of course I obliged her every request. Finally, one late night, she took advantage of me getting drunk at a social event and set a great fire, burning down the bridal house my parents had prepared for us, and killing my childhood sweetheart who had been with her for more than 20 years. It's all your fault, you bastard, that killed him. If it weren't for you, we don't know how happy we would have been. I married you only because I'd had my fun and wanted a decent man to take over. Ethan Johnson, in my eyes, you are nothing but a despicable dog. Ethan Johnson, did you know? Every day with you made me sick, but I've already transferred all the property away, including your huge insurance payout. It's all mine. I have to thank you. Mom and Dad's company has been run pretty well under you. Go to hell, Ethan Johnson. Repent properly to my brother Jake. Looking at my hysterical wife in front of my charred corpse, I never imagined she would hold such a grudge against me for so many years because of Jake Miller. Maybe even heaven couldn't stand this wicked woman bullying a good person and gave me a chance to be reborn. This time, I will never fall in love with you again. You hurry up and lock yourself with that scumbag Jake Miller. Truly a whore matched with a dog, forever and ever. Sophia Taylor held my fingers, which had turned a bit red from the cold, and said, "Ethan, big brother, just promise you'll help cover for me, okay?" Facing her expectant eyes, I simply gave a faint smile. Go ahead. If I don't help you, who will? But from now on after school, I'll go home by myself first. The college entrance exam is coming up. I want to study a bit more." At that, Sophia Taylor immediately frowned. "Ethan Johnson, why are you so stingy? That little extra time is hardly enough to study anything. Jake is my friend too. He's a very nice person. If you spend some time with him, you'll come to like him as well. Studying all day long, don't you find it boring?" She thought I was jealous, wanting to monopolize her, so she resisted me. She believed Jake Miller was inherently good. It was only an unfortunate childhood that turned him into what he is now, and she could save him. I just shook my head gently at the angry Sophia Taylor. "No, that's not true. I really want a review. I hope you get what you wish for and truly can save him." At that moment, Jake Miller stepped out from the corridor beside the classroom. His inverted triangle eyes stared at me viciously, as if he wanted to tear me apart, as if I had stolen his woman. He yanked Sophia Taylor's arm away from mine and said, with feigned tenderness, "It's okay, Sophia. I'll take you home." Sophia Taylor pulled her hand back and looked at me oddly. "Ethan Johnson, what's wrong with you today?" In her eyes, I'm just a lowly simp. But she didn't expect me to be uncharacteristically cold to her today. I ignored the two of them, tugged my hat and mask, and strode home. Seeing herself ignored, Sophia Taylor ground her teeth in anger and yelled at me. Why are you giving me that face? If you won't wait, you won't wait. Who cares about you anyway? I've never seen a man as stingy as you. Hearing her roar, I felt nothing, and a line from the famous Buddhist scholar Nan Huaichin came to mind. Let go of the urge to help, respect others' destinies. We're already reborn. Shouldn't I be enjoying life instead of wasting time on you two lovebirds? Please, could you just lock it down already? In my past life, because I liked Sophia Taylor, devoted a lot of attention to her, and constantly worried about her and Jake Miller. In the end, though, I had been a top student, I only barely got into a first-tier university. Now there are only a few months left until the college entrance exam. I have to give it my all. Vitalik Buterin, the founder of the cryptocurrency Ethereum, will come to China to promote it this year. Ethereum, which in later years rose to $3,000 or $4,000 each and is the leading cryptocurrency second only to Bitcoin, is now selling for only $1 a piece. I also heard that the top City Scholar scholarship is $100,000. And as for the college entrance exam questions, although I don't remember them very clearly, I still have some vague recollection. I am determined to seize this chance to turn things around. As for revenge, I don't have that much time right now, but I've already worked out a plan. When the time comes, with just a small scheme, I can lock that pair of scoundrels together for life and make them live in misery. That day, Sophia Taylor came to find me of her own accord, holding an exquisite insulated food container. She had on a touch of makeup. Even in her plain, unfashionable school uniform, she couldn't hide her youthful beauty. Some boys nearby, eager for mischief, started jeering and whistling. Not bad, top student. Only you could get the school beauty to come to you. Sure enough, Sophia Taylor directly set the lunchbox down on my desk, just covering my notes. This cake was baked by my mom. She told me to give you a piece to try. I didn't even look up. I pushed the box aside and kept studying my notes. Okay, tell Annie thank you for me. But after hearing that, she angrily slapped my exam paper, covering my notes to stop me from studying. Ethan Johnson, I brought you this cake, and you can't even say thank you? Thanks to you too. Seeing me act coldly, Sophia Taylor's apricot eyes widened in outrage. Her cheeks puffed up with anger, looking like a little frog. She was about to say something when she heard Jake Miller call her from not far away. So she swallowed her words and turned to leave. Their desk mate, seeing this, immediately played peacemaker. Did you two have a fight? I was wondering why I haven't seen you two walking together lately. The campus belle came to give you face and try to make up with you. Why don't you take the hint? Being so strict with a girl isn't very nice. I was too lazy to explain. It's nothing, you're overthinking it. After saying that, I immediately went back to cramming for the exam. But young people love gossip, and soon the news that Sophia Taylor came to make up with me spread throughout the grade, and of course it reached Jake Miller's ears. After afternoon PE, a basketball suddenly struck the back of my head. With a bang, I saw stars. When I came to, I saw Jake Miller staring at me fiercely. Johnson, if you're a man, fight me. Whoever loses is not allowed to bother Sophia Taylor ever again. I could only find this childish behavior amusing. This didn't happen in my last life. But to me, whether it happened or not makes no difference. I can't be bothered to argue with scum like him. I'd rather spend that time reviewing my mistakes. Now is not the time to get back at him. Jake Miller, I don't have any feelings for her at all. Please don't bother me anymore. The college entrance exam is coming up. I need to study properly. Having said that, I turned to leave. But I ignored his attitude, which to him became a huge mockery. He almost shouted, roaring, "You fucking weren't following Sophia Taylor around every day because you like her? I'll tell you, she likes me now. I stole your girlfriend and slept with her, you cowardly turtle." The moment he mentioned him having relations with Sophia Taylor, I flew into a furious rage. Although in this life, she and I have nothing to do with each other. We're neither lovers nor married. But in my last life, it was because of that bastard that I met a grisly end in a fire, burned alive by that bitch. Seeing that his humiliation had worked, Jake Miller was very pleased and punched me square on the nose. Coward, come on. In an instant, my glasses flew off and blood flowed from my nose. I glanced at the surveillance camera in the corner and wiped the blood from my face. While he was gloating, I punched him in the stomach. He doubled over in pain instantly, like a shrimp. After being reborn, I enrolled in a boxing class on weekends. mainly because in my previous life I loved the sport, but never had the chance to learn it and didn't want any regrets. It also helps strengthen the body. I didn't expect it would come in handy today. Jake Miller is much sturdier than me. Before long he recovered and, driven by a fierce determination, went at me wildly. The two of us struggled together, neither getting the upper hand, until Sophia Taylor screamed and ran over, shoved me hard, and even slapped me. This was the first time in my life I had ever been slapped. Her slap was heavy. Her entire palm was red, and even her arm trembled slightly from the force. Before I could explain that Jake Miller had struck first, Sophia Taylor fired off without warning. "Ethan Johnson, what are you doing? Why are you bullying Jake?" Seeing the look in her eyes that seemed to want to carve me to pieces, I couldn't help but laugh in anger. "Fine, you're looking for your own death." Having said that, she quickly took a tissue out of her pocket and wiped the blood off Jake Miller's face, her expression full of concern. "Jake, does it hurt? Is it serious?" Jake Miller only gave me a defiant glance, then turned to Sophia Taylor with a wronged air and said, "It's nothing. I'm used to being beaten by my dad. This little injury is nothing." Hearing that, Sophia Taylor glared at me with fury. "You bastard, didn't you know Jake's father often abuses him? Even if he has some personality issues, can't you be more magnanimous and tolerate him a bit?" Seeing her being so unreasonable, I couldn't be bothered to pay her any attention. I was about to bend down to pick up my glasses and go back to the classroom to continue reviewing. Unexpectedly, she beat me to it and kicked my glasses, sending them more than 20 meters away. The glasses, which were already somewhat damaged, instantly shattered into pieces in the air. These glasses were given to me by Sophia Taylor. During the summer between middle school and high school, she worked for over a month specifically to buy them for me. I still remember Mrs. Taylor saying with an envious tone in the last life, "Sophia spent more than a week choosing these glasses. I'm just worried you won't like them." Ah, girls grow up and leave home, don't they? When it came to picking gift for me and her father, she never put in this much thought. Not even a tenth as much. Hearing Mrs. Taylor's complaints and teasing, Sophia Taylor's face flushed bright red. "Mom, don't make fun of me. In my past life, after we married, I even kept these glasses carefully, planning to wait until our child grew up to tell them about this sweet chapter between their parents." Thinking about it now, it's utterly ridiculous. I ignored Sophia Taylor, who was still cursing at me in place, wiped the blood from my nose with my school uniform sleeve, and turned to leave. I firmly believe that if they keep digging their own graves like this, heaven will take care of them without me having to lift a finger. As for fanning the flames and getting revenge, I'll have plenty of time to deal with them properly when summer break comes. After that, Sophia Taylor unilaterally gave me the cold shoulder. But that's fine too. It left me free and I was able to study much more efficiently. The citywide first mock exam began soon. Because I studied seriously, and because I still had some vague memories of last life's college entrance exam questions, problems that seemed hard to others were very easy for me. After the exam, everyone chattered as they compared answers and talked about the latest gossip. "Top student, do you know why Sophia Taylor didn't come to the mock exam? Is that really true? My brother told me too. Their homeroom teacher is almost going crazy looking for her." Hearing that, I just smiled. Ah, I didn't know. The gears of fate began to turn again, and Sophia Taylor kept walking further down the road to her own ruin. After packing my bag, I hummed a tune and walked home in a good mood. I reached the entrance of the Ice and Snow Metropolis milk tea shop, intending to buy myself a cup as a treat, but unexpectedly ran straight into Jake Miller and Sophia Taylor. Sophia Taylor has changed a lot recently. She's wearing her hair in full dreadlocks, has exaggerated Western-style makeup on her face, and her lips are painted a deep purple. She's wearing a short skirt that reaches her mid-arm, showing off a pair of long, straight, slender legs to full effect. But I have to admit, she's still so beautiful. Seeing me, Jake Miller said smugly, "Sophia skipped the exam to be with me. Could she do that for you? Ethan Johnson, you're a complete failure in life." I immediately frowned and blurted out, "You're illiterate. That's called a loser." Hearing that, Jake Miller felt humiliated. "I'll say whatever I want. What does it have to do with you? What's the use of being good at studying if you can't even keep a woman? You're a pathetic loser." I roll my eyes. I was foolish in my past life. Now time is so precious. I won't waste it being angry at this kind of trash. Sophia Taylor hung on Jake Miller's arm like a koala. Darling, now you have to believe me, right? For you, I can give up anything. You must never threaten to break up with me again. Without you, I simply can't go on. Jake Miller looked at Sophia Taylor indulgently and said tenderly, Honey, I believe you. Without you, I can't live either, really. Hearing their gushy conversation, the milk tea I had just taken a sip of nearly came back up. Bitch and dog, forever and ever. Please lock yourselves in place for the rest of your lives. For God's sake, don't go ruin anyone else. I held the milk tea between my teeth and turned to leave, not wanting to deal with those two idiots at all. Behind me, they hugged each other tightly as if no one else existed, even putting on a dramatic French wet kiss. To avoid her parents' scolding, Sophia Taylor deliberately broke her left leg. She showed up before her parents and teachers with a cast and crutches. The exam results came out. I ranked first in the grade and third in the city this time. At the dinner between the two families, Mrs. Taylor anxiously scratched her head. Sophia, what's been wrong with you lately? You're not focused on your studies at all. The college entrance exam is coming up. What are we going to do? Sophia Taylor, however, looked unconcerned. Oh, Mom, at worst I'll repeat a year. I'll definitely be able to get into university. Mrs. Taylor sighed in worry when she saw her nonchalant attitude. Ethan, your grades are so good. Why don't you tutor Sophia a bit? This time I ranked third in the entire city. I completely have the ability to aim for Tsinghua or Peking University. Even the homeroom teacher is very optimistic about me, saying I might even become the city's top scorer. I'm not going to waste my time on that idiot. Before I could refuse, Sophia Taylor shouted first. No way, I don't want him tutoring me. Seeing her daughter being so childish, Mrs. Taylor felt embarrassed too. That's true, there's so little time left before the college entrance exam. Ethan is busy reviewing too. When would he have the time? Seeing the cast on Sophia Taylor's leg, my mother was heartbroken. After all these years, she had long since treated Sophia Taylor as her own daughter. Sophia, does it still hurt? Mrs. Taylor, the child's health is the most important thing. Don't push her. Hearing this, Sophia Taylor put on an obedient expression. It's okay, Aunt Johnson. It doesn't hurt anymore. Thank you for caring. After 3 rounds of wine and 5 courses, the two families went their separate ways. As they were leaving, taking advantage of the adults' inattention, Sophia Taylor finally showed a mocking expression and said to me, "But just a bookish nerd who only knows how to study. Don't think that because my mom praises you, I could ever look up to you. And don't pity me. Jake's love can heal my pain. This little wound of mine is nothing, and I don't need your concern. Don't come looking for me anymore. I'm afraid Jake will misunderstand." After saying that, she threw the snacks my mother had made for her straight into the nearby trash can. I won't eat anything related to you, because it's as disgusting as you. Watching her sit in the car and drive off arrogantly, I felt nothing inside. If my mother hadn't dragged me here to eat, I wouldn't have come to see her at all. After fracturing her calf bone, Sophia Taylor became even more unruly. She used it as an excuse to skip all her classes and spend her days running wild with Jake Miller. One Saturday at noon, my mom prepared a table full of dishes. She wiped her apron and told me to go and call Sophia Taylor to come home for dinner. When I heard that, I was 100 times unwilling. But my mom started nagging. "Ethan, you're a boy. Can't you be a little more generous?" Sophia broke her leg and is in a cast. Your Uncle Taylor and Aunt Taylor are both on a business trip, and she's a young girl home alone. How pitiful. Be good, don't be stubborn. You're a real man. Be more accommodating to a young lady. Ethan, dear, go call Sophia to come eat. Looking at my mother's earnest expression, I let out a deep sigh. But I couldn't explain all of this to her. So I decided to go out for a walk and come back and tell Mom that Sophia Taylor wasn't home. That would get me through it. Just as I stepped out the door, I saw a key stuck in the lock of the neighbor's front door. Sophia Taylor's. She must have forgotten to pull it out. I hurried over, planning to knock and let her know. I didn't expect it, but I heard a sound that was unbearable to listen to. As an adult, of course I knew what was happening. So I immediately turned around, planning to go home. But the door suddenly swung open with a whoosh. Turns out the two of them were doing that kind of thing right at the doorway, in broad daylight. Jake Miller stood shirtless, running a hand through the yellow hair on his head. He planted one foot on the threshold, a cigarette dangling from his mouth, and a strange, indescribable stench wafted through the room. You stinky idiot. Feel good? Did you take care of yourself? If you did, you owe me money, you know that? Behind him, Sophia Taylor hurriedly fumbled with the zipper of her coat, hair disheveled, cheeks flushed, and her neck covered in bright red teeth marks. Even more outrageous, she was just standing there perfectly straight, not needing a cane at all. So her claim of a fractured lower leg was fake. There was nothing wrong with her. I really didn't expect that after being reborn these two would be so brazen, doing something like that in broad daylight. While I was frozen, Jake Miller punched me square in the chest. Ethan Johnson, what are you looking at? Keep staring, and I'll gouge your eyeballs out. He's never even seen a woman. What an idiot. Before I could say anything, Sophia Taylor finished getting dressed, and her face fierce, threatened. Ethan Johnson, you are not allowed to tattle to my parents. Otherwise, I can't promise Jake won't beat you up. Seeing the two of them in cahoots like that, I didn't want to argue either. After all, if it blew up, my mother would be hurt. She had always regarded Sophia Taylor as her future daughter-in-law. My mom called you to eat. I told her you weren't home. After saying that, I turned and started walking home. Seeing me leave, Jake Miller looked as pleased as could be. Before I left, I dropped one line. From now on, we stay out of each other's business. I won't meddle in your affairs, and you two better not bother me. Otherwise, I won't keep your secrets. Without the interference of those two idiots, my study state was especially good, and I was confident I could take the top score in this year's college entrance exam. On that day, after the pre-exam physical, a sensational piece of news spread throughout the school. Everyone discussed it in whispers. Have you heard? Sophia Taylor is pregnant. Fuck, is Jake Miller that wild? Those two are playing way too hard, not even taking safety precautions. I listened to the news, the corner of my mouth curving up slightly. Without my intervention in this life, the two of them still ended up going too far. I was leisurely sipping my coffee when a class monitor came running up to me, out of breath. Ethan Johnson, the homeroom teacher wants to see you. Go to the office. I was dumbfounded when I heard that. She, Sophia Taylor, is pregnant? What does that have to do with me? My classmate and close friend reacted faster and blurted out on the spot. Holy shit, Ethan, you guys get around? Threesome. Hearing that, I hurriedly denied it. Get lost, you idiot. Even if you paid me, I wouldn't touch her. But he didn't take it seriously. She's the goddess of every boy in school. I'd be willing to shave 10 years off my life just to have one go with her. I couldn't be bothered to pay him any mind. After all, Sophia Taylor has nothing to do with me now. I glanced at him and immediately hurried to the teacher's office. As soon as I walked in, I saw my father striding toward me angrily, and Sophia Taylor's parents were there too. Before I could even greet them, my father kicked me to the ground and, pointing at my nose, yelled, Ethan Johnson, you little bastard, how could you do something like this? My mother, seeing the situation, quickly grabbed him. Mr. Johnson, please calm down. Our son is always busy studying. He shouldn't be capable of something like this. Let him finish what he has to say first. If this really was his doing today, we definitely won't let him off. No matter what, we have to give the Taylors an explanation. Hearing this, my father glared at me fiercely. You little bastard, are you really my son? Do you dare not own up to what you did? What on earth is going on? At this moment, Sophia Taylor stood behind them with tear-streaked cheeks, muttering that she didn't want to live. When I glared at her angrily, a provoked smile curled at the corner of her mouth. So she was afraid of getting Jake Miller involved and wanted me to take the fall. I patted the footprint on my chest, stood up, and said slowly and deliberately, Child, it wasn't me. When he heard that, my father got even angrier. He yanked the computer monitor off the table and was about to smash it toward me. You little bastard, still being stubborn at a time like this? I'll smash you to death. When my mother saw my father was about to strike, she hurriedly sheltered me behind her like a broody hen protecting her chicks. Mr. Johnson, if you're going to hit someone, hit me too. This is the son I raised. I believe him. If he says he didn't do it, then I believe him. Seeing my mother defend me like that, my father roared, Use your brain for once. Would Sophia besmirch her own purity to frame him? When my father said that, Sophia Taylor, who was hiding in Mrs. Taylor's arms, began her performance and cried without stopping, Mom, I don't want to live anymore. I don't want to live anymore. Ethan Johnson, the child is clearly yours. You tricked me into bed, and now you won't acknowledge it. Boo-hoo. It was the big break, and the hallway was filled with students who had come running to gawk. especially since this scandal involved the goddess in their hearts. After hearing Sophia Taylor's words, everyone immediately began whispering, "This Ethan Johnson is such a beast. He slept with someone, got her pregnant, and won't take responsibility. What a complete scumbag. I even shipped them as a CP. Someone so irresponsible doesn't deserve to be my goddess's partner." I thought Ethan Johnson was a good person, always pretending to study hard, but behind the scenes he's such a shameless, irresponsible animal. Seeing everyone present gritting their teeth and siding with her, Sophia Taylor cried even louder, "Wah wah wah, Ethan Johnson, you're a liar. You told me you liked me and tricked me into bed. You caused this mess now, and yet you've cleaned yourself completely off the hook. Are you even a man? If I had known you were this kind of person, I would never have been with you, no matter what boo-hoo. Dad, Mom, uncles, aunts, don't stop me. I'm going to jump off a building right now, boo-hoo." Seeing Sophia Taylor about to kill herself, the Taylors immediately restrained her tightly. My father even grabbed a chair, raised it above his head, and was about to smash it down on me. "You little beast, I'm going to beat you to death today." Seeing the chaotic scene before me, a trace of a cold smile appeared at the corner of my mouth. "All of you calm down. Sophia Taylor, you caused this ruckus just to cover for Jake Miller, didn't you? Good thing I had already taken precautions against you. Go ahead and wait for death." At those words, Sophia Taylor, who had been crying and fussing a moment ago, immediately stopped. She stared at me intently, and then a hint of ferocity and determination flashed in her eyes. She was bluffing. I didn't have any solid evidence. No sooner had she finished speaking than I put my hand in my pocket and pulled out an MP4 player. Sophia Taylor gave it to me in 10th grade, saying it would make it easier for me to study and look up materials. That day, I had planned to go out for a walk, listen to some music, stroll around, and then go home to report back, but I never expected it would come in so handy. I ignored the puzzled looks from the crowd and calmly opened the voice recorder app. A clear recording reached the ears of everyone present. "Stupid asshole, does that feel good? Did you take care of yourself secretly? If you did, you have to pay, you know that. Ethan Johnson, what are you staring at? Keep looking and I'll gouge your eyes out. Ethan Johnson, you aren't allowed to tattle to my parents. Otherwise, I can't promise whether Jake will beat you up." Before the recording finished playing, Sophia Taylor, like a mad dog, broke free from everyone's restraint, lunged in front of me, snatched the MP4, and hurled it to the ground. With a bang, the MP4 was smashed to pieces and completely broken. But now it was already too late to destroy the evidence. Everyone present knew exactly who this child's father was. Sophia Taylor, with her mind set on protecting Jake Miller, had made such a scene. She just didn't expect that I had already anticipated her move. Mr. Taylor, who had been silent the whole time, suddenly swung his hand and smacked Sophia Taylor across the face with 2 loud slaps. Sophia Taylor stared at the man who had suddenly struck her, disbelief all over her face. She never expected that the father who had never hit her since she was young would lay a hand on her. Mr. Taylor paid no mind to the crowd's reactions. He stepped forward and solemnly apologized to me. "Ethan, it is the Taylor family who has wronged you." Facing Mr. Taylor's sincere apology, I immediately cut him off. After all, this matter had nothing to do with him from beginning to end. He was also a victim. "It's all right, Uncle Taylor. If there's nothing else, I'll be going now." Before long, Jake Miller's father arrived at the school. Unlike last life when the matter blew up at the school, this time, as soon as they heard Sophia Taylor was pregnant and that her family was fairly well off, Jake's father not only didn't beat Jake Miller senseless, but shamelessly called him future in-law at every turn, beaming as he buttered up Mr. Taylor. "Ah, Mr. Taylor, please don't be angry. This was our Jake's fault. How about this? Once the college entrance exams are over, we'll throw the 2 kids a wedding banquet, and when they're of legal age, we'll have them register. Don't worry, future in-law. Our Jake is not someone without responsibility. This child will certainly be raised by the Miller family." Seeing how shameless Jake's father was, Mr. Taylor grabbed the paper cup in his hand and flung the water hard into Jake's father's face. "Throw your damn banquet. Raise your damn child." Before he finished speaking, Mr. Taylor, like a crazed lion, lunged viciously at Jake's father and slammed him to the ground. Jake's father wasn't someone to be trifled with either. He lost his temper, grappled with Mr. Taylor, and turned the office into a mess. In the end, Only with the help of several PE teachers and security guards were they barely separated. At this point, Jake Miller shamelessly ran up to Mr. Taylor and buttered him up. "Uncle Taylor, don't worry. I will definitely take responsibility for Sophia to the end." If we hadn't brought it up, things would have been fine, but mentioning it sent Mr. Taylor into a rage again. He landed 2 punches on Jake Miller on the spot, knocking him straight to the ground. Seeing his son being beaten, Jake's father was completely unconcerned. Father-in-law-to-be, hit him as hard as you want. Hit until you're satisfied. When you've let off enough steam, we'll sit down and properly discuss the marriage of the 2 children. Mr. Taylor was so furious at this point that he had no mind to deal with this shameless man. He raised his leg to kick Jake Miller, who was lying on the ground. But just as the foot was about to come down, Sophia Taylor suddenly threw herself in front of Jake Miller and firmly shielded him with her body. "Dad, if you want to kick someone, kick me. This is partly my fault too. If you want to beat or punish someone, take it out on me. Jake and I truly love each other. If you want to hit someone, hit me." Seeing this, Jake Miller also knelt before Mr. and Mrs. Taylor, crying and pleading, "Uncle Taylor, Aunt Taylor, Sophia, and I truly love each other. Please bless us." Sophia Taylor immediately clung to Mr. Taylor's leg, crying her heart out. "Dad, please bless us. Every day with Jake makes me happy. I really love him. I hope you can bless us." The matter had blown up to the point where it seemed everyone had become a villain, all trying to stop this pair of lovers from being together. Jake's father saw Mr. Taylor stop striking, so he shamelessly stepped forward. "I say, in-laws, you've beaten them and scolded them. For the sake of these 2 children's true love, please spare them. Don't wait until summer for the wedding. Do it now, do it immediately. Besides, the kids are already grown. Let them walk their own paths. Don't you agree, in-laws? After all, he's still blood of your Taylor family." At those words, Sophia Taylor got fired up. "Dad, Mom, this is your grandson. How can you be so heartless, insisting on letting him die? I don't care. I'm his mother. He's my child. I will give birth to him. I will definitely give birth." Seeing his daughter's resolute expression, Mr. Taylor couldn't help but scold sharply. Give birth! What nonsense! If the child is born, what will you all use to support him? You're still so young, and you chose such a useless man, and now you're bearing his child. Aren't you ruining the rest of your life? Mr. Taylor's words were reasonable every sentence, but Sophia Taylor just couldn't listen. She screamed, "I don't care. I'm going to give birth. I will definitely give birth." Jake Miller now also played the pity card. "Sophia, don't worry. I'll drop out and go to work right away to support you and the baby." "Uncle Taylor, Aunt Taylor, please, I'm begging you to let us be." He said that with his mouth, but in his heart he was making schemes. "I refuse to believe that your Taylor family is so rich they'll abandon their daughter." Seeing things had come to this point, Mr. Taylor knew in his heart that it was impossible to make his daughter change her mind immediately. He wore a sullen face and, together with Mrs. Taylor, took Sophia Taylor back home. After that, I never saw Sophia Taylor at school again. Every now and then, though, I would hear hysterical arguments coming from the Taylors next door. "Dad, why won't you believe Jake? His dad is his dad. He is who he is. They're not the same. I'm living my life with Jake, not with his father. As long as Jake treats me well, that's all that matters." Every time I hear such childish words, I smile and shake my head. The influence of one's family of origin isn't something that can be changed just like that. It takes a very high level of insight and personal refinement, and clearly, Jake Miller has neither. Marriage is the mundane chores of daily life. With such childish thinking from Sophia Taylor, how could our future possibly go smoothly? Jake Miller did visit frequently, but each time he was turned away at the door. Once, when I was walking back home on a weekend, I happened to see Mr. Taylor pour a basin of foot-washing water over Jake Miller and drive him out of the house, while Sophia Taylor was pityingly using her sleeve to wipe his face. "Jake, are you okay? Please don't be angry. Trust me, as long as we persist, someday my parents will accept you. You don't just have me, you have our child as well. By the time the baby is born, what's done is done. They won't have any way out." Hearing this, Jake Miller looked delighted as he pulled Sophia Taylor into his arms. "Sophia, I'm so glad I have you." Leaning on Jake Miller's shoulder, Sophia Taylor saw me going upstairs. So she broke free of Jake Miller's embrace and pointed at me angrily. "Ethan Johnson, you selfish bastard. If it weren't for you, would we be in such a mess? What good would it do for you to block Jake? My dad isn't going to make things hard for you." "Ethan Johnson, you're an ungrateful traitor." Hearing that, I laughed in anger. She's clearly in the wrong. So how did I end up being made the scapegoat? I ignored the pair of mad dogs, slammed the door open, and went inside, and the world instantly became peaceful. Sitting at my desk, the angrier I got, the more furious I became. In my last life, I treated her unconditionally well, helped her father run the company, handed the financial reins to her, let her live a pampered life. Yet she could commit such heartless deeds, trying to put me to death. If I don't get some interest back, I truly won't be able to eat or sleep in peace. While pondering a countermeasure, my gaze fell on the Journey to the West on the bookshelf, and I immediately had an idea. Tang Sanzang endured the 81 trials. The final one was the old giant turtle in the Tongtian River who ferried the four of them across. Because Tang Sanzang forgot to ask Buddha when the turtle could attain human form, it flew into a rage and threw the four of them into the river. It forgot how, when the spirit of inspiration, that carp demon, seized its cave and occupied its wife and daughters, it had begged the four master and disciples in every possible way for help. He even forgot that Tang Sung was the Buddha's second disciple. He could casually reach out and call someone who could deal with enemies Tang Sung couldn't handle at all. Human nature is like that. Hard to change, stubborn, and mostly short-sighted. After organizing my words, I dialed a number. "Emma, are you asleep?" Hearing that I was the one who called, a delighted female voice came from the other end. She was one of the few close friends of Sophia Taylor. This Emma is a calculating green tea, very jealous of Sophia Taylor. "Not yet, brother Ethan. Is something the matter so late?" "Nothing much. I finished that female-oriented novel you told me about last time. It was pretty good. It's just that for some reason, I feel like the protagonist in the book resembles one of our friends very much." "Mr. Taylor, are you out of your mind? Why aren't you hurrying to take the child to get an abortion? Are you going to keep it for the new year?" I was helping my mother roll out dumpling wrappers, muttering, "Mom, Sophia Taylor isn't your daughter-in-law. Why are you worrying about this?" Sure enough, the next day, Mr. Taylor dragged Sophia Taylor to the hospital for an abortion. On the way, Sophia Taylor cried and made a scene, even threatening to kill herself. I don't know where Jake Miller got the news, but shortly after the Taylors arrived at the hospital, he rushed over too. To save the child in Sophia Taylor's womb, he rushed up to the hospital rooftop in one go. He raised a loudspeaker and shouted like a fearless warrior, "Listen up. If your hospital dares to terminate the baby in Sophia's womb, I'll jump off this roof." The incident became a huge deal. Not only firefighters and SWAT were dispatched, but the local TV station was also alerted. Under such pressure, the hospital didn't dare perform the operation, and the child in Sophia Taylor's womb was saved. But this matter blew up, and everyone in the capital knew about it. From then on, Mr. Taylor and Mrs. Taylor sighed and worried every day, unable to attend to business or family. Mrs. Taylor wept constantly. Sometimes in the dead of night, I could hear her wailing, "Oh heavens, what sin have I committed?" Finally, one late night, I was memorizing an English composition by the window when rustling sounds came from next door. Sophia Taylor, just like the heroine in that silly novel, tied the sheets and duvet covers together, slid down from the upper floor along the rope, and eloped. As soon as they reached downstairs, Jake Miller gave Sophia Taylor a big hug. Then, without hesitation, they ran hand in hand and disappeared into the night. Watching their retreating figures, I smiled with satisfaction. Two young people inexperienced in the world, with no skills at all, and absolutely unable to support themselves. I couldn't even imagine how much hardship life had in store for them. The next morning, the urgent wail of an ambulance siren rang out. A team of medical personnel hurriedly ran into the Taylor house and carried someone away. It was only later that I learned that on the night Sophia Taylor ran away, she had given her parents a whole bottle of melatonin. Mrs. Taylor happened to be allergic to melatonin and almost couldn't be saved. After this incident, Mr. Taylor completely gave up on his daughter and even publicly spat harsh words. The father-daughter relationship between me and Sophia Taylor is ended and irrevocable. After all, she was his own biological daughter. Mrs. Taylor couldn't bear it and didn't want to make a big fuss. Otherwise, if they had called the police, they could definitely have had Sophia Taylor arrested and made her serve several years in prison. One day when I came home, I saw Mr. Taylor smoking miserably in the stairwell. He looked in terrible spirits, with dark circles under his eyes like a panda's and his hair a tangled mess, looking like a bird's nest. Uncle Taylor, don't lose heart. Saying that, I pulled a cigarette from my pocket, lit one, and sat down beside him. Ethan, when did you learn to smoke? Hey, isn't it because of the stress from studying? Don't worry about me. What are you going to do? Are you really going to hang yourself from the same tree? Hearing my words, Mr. Taylor showed a puzzled expression. Ethan, do you have any kind of plan? It's nothing special. I just did a reading comprehension section on the English exam a few days ago. There's a country in Europe called Ukraine. It seems surrogacy is possible there, and the cost is quite low. Uncle Taylor, don't you happen to have international business? If not, just ask around. While you're still young, have another child with Aunt Taylor. After saying that, I stubbed out my cigarette and went home, ignoring Mr. Taylor, who was sitting on the stairs lost in thought. Mr. Taylor, over these past 10+ years, managed to rise from an ordinary salesman to founding his own company. He's no pushover. Personality determines destiny, doesn't it? In the blink of an eye, the college entrance exam was over, and I became the biggest dark horse in Jing City. Relying on fuzzy memories from my past life and the efforts of this one, I successfully got into Qin University. Not only the city's top scorer, but the province's as well. The scholarship was also more than I expected, fully $200,000. On the day the results were posted, the homeroom teacher's smile almost reached their ears, and my parents laid out a big feast to entertain relatives and friends. Those distant cousins who see each other only a few times a year gathered around me, competing to ask for my study methods. The adults, all smiling, admonished them. Learn more from your brother Ethan. Maybe you too can also make a leap to success. Faced with such a joyous scene, Mrs. Taylor cried into a blotchy face. Wah, wah, wah. If only Sophia hadn't wah, wah, wah. Mr. Taylor also showed a flash of pain on his face, but then put on an air of casual indifference. On such a happy day, why bring up that unlucky person? She nearly got you killed. Why are you still thinking about her? Sigh, no matter what, she's still my child. After the matter was exposed, Mr. and Mrs. Taylor came to the house several times and sincerely apologized to me. Because the two families were originally on good terms, I couldn't really blame the Taylors for this, so I didn't pursue it further. Instead, I often comforted them. With the scholarship, I went to Hangzhou as I had hoped, met Vitalik Buterin, and bought a large amount of ether. After that, I traveled around the country and began living a happy life. Before school started, I tracked down the boss of the local arcade, Mike. On the surface, Mike was the arcade owner, but secretly he also ran several underground betting dens, and it was said he had protection from higher-ups. Jake Miller's father, Jake Sr., had lost a lot of money with him. Mike, there's a letter and $10,000. Someone asked me to deliver this letter and the money to you. Mike took the printed letter, only frowning slightly before calmly putting it away. Go back and give them a message. This small matter can definitely be handled. The rest of the money can be given to me later. For him, setting someone up was hardly difficult. He had a beautiful woman on his team who specialized in doing just that. Given Jake Miller's personality, I don't believe he wouldn't fall for it. A year later, I received a somewhat familiar phone number. I was at an international exchange organized by the school, surrounded by beautiful women from various countries. Hello, who is this? What do you want? It's me, Ethan. On the other end of the line came the voice of Sophia Taylor. I want to ask you, what's my parents' current phone number? I can't reach them. You still haven't heard to ask? Do you know you almost killed your mother back then? Want to contact them? Don't be dreaming. They've long since changed their numbers. That's impossible. My parents love me so much. How could they? Before she could finish, the sound of a child crying came through the phone. I didn't want to waste words with her either and hung up immediately. That New Year's Eve, Sophia Taylor knelt straight at the Taylor family's door, cradling a newborn in her arms, and cried out loudly, Dad, Mom, open the door. Look at your grandson. Please, Dad, Mom, I was wrong. For the sake of your grandson, forgive me. But even after she wore her knees raw and smashed her head, the cold iron door in front of her never opened, as cold and merciless as her biological parents had been to her back then. What she didn't know was that Mr. and Mrs. Taylor had long ago sold off all their assets, including the company, and taken Ukrainian citizenship. Mr. Taylor did not leave a single penny to that ungrateful daughter who had once nearly killed his wife. The wheels of fate kept turning, and everyone was moving toward a better life. Only Sophia Taylor seemed to be stuck at 18, that summer when she was 18. It was many years later when he saw Sophia Taylor again. At that time, I had just signed a big deal, wearing a suit worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, walking out of the CBD building in the city center. My driver was sitting in a Rolls-Royce, waiting for me not far away. From a distance, I saw two plainly dressed people arguing. Damn you, you bitch. Is this child even mine? Why does he look more and more like that bastard of your ex-boyfriend? I don't have an ex-boyfriend. Still stubborn as hell? You must have been screwing that bastard. I'll beat you to death. Before the woman could protest, there was a bang as a wine bottle smashed down right by her feet. She was instantly terrified like a quail, hands over her head, cowering there and trembling as the man vented his fury. The man raised his fist and, without a word, swung it hard at the woman. Don't talk back. The younger one looks less and less like me. You must have cheated, you filthy whore. You bossed me about my gambling. You bossed me about my drinking. Screw you. I was counting on you to get some money from your family to support us, but not a single cent. I'll fucking kill you. Seeing the man hitting her harder and harder, the woman's nose and mouth began to bleed. I lunged forward in a single step and drove a hard punch into the man's face. The punch sent him staggering and he fell backward, landing hard on his butt. All these years, my boxing training wasn't for nothing. I've never seen such a spineless man. Can't provide for his family and still blames his wife. The man slumped on the ground, impotent fury. I hit my wife, that's my family business. What's it got to do with you? Seeing the man grow increasingly arrogant, the onlookers could no longer stand it and took out their phones to call the police. This bastard, what kind of skill is bullying a woman? I'm calling the police to have him arrested right now. Betting, drinking, and beating women. The police need to teach him a lesson. Exactly, beating someone in broad daylight. We must call the police and have him thrown in jail today. At the mention of calling the police, the man immediately backed down. He spat out a parting barb, then slunk away. You damn bitch, I'll deal with you when I get back. Consider yourself lucky today. The woman didn't respond. She just crouched on the ground, sobbing softly. Seeing this, I sighed deeply and handed her a tissue. Madam, your temper is way too good. You won't even get a divorce over this. Keeping him for the new year. I left that joke hanging and turned to leave. Unexpectedly, the woman stood up at once and, looking surprised, asked, Ethan Johnson, is that you? Hearing someone call my name, I turned back, somewhat surprised. Seeing me turn, she grabbed my arm excitedly. It's me, Sophia Taylor. Have you been doing all right these years? Are you still alone? Looking at her pitiful state, all resentment had long since left my heart. And so had the exhilaration I once felt from revenge. Maybe it's because I'm on a different level now and no longer bother with such trivial matters. Or perhaps it's because she's now miserable enough, worse than dead, that I simply can't bring myself to hate her anymore. My company is now dozens of times larger than before I was reborn, and my assets exceed tens of billions of US dollars. Not only that, I have a happy family, a beautiful wife who loves me, and our child. Look at her now. Once the goddess who made every boy at school's heart skip a beat, she has become a middle-aged, bloated, haggard-faced drab. Compared to the graceful campus belle she used to be, she is like a completely different person. I'm okay, getting by pretty well. Seeing my upright posture, still as spirited as in our student days, she sighed. You haven't changed. You look the same as when we were in school. Now you know how to dress up, even more handsome. Back then we could only wear school uniforms. No choice. By the way, that just now. Wasn't that someone we knew before? What was their name? I'm really sorry. I can't remember his name. I truly forgot who he was. After getting into Ching University, my life became full of color. So many years have passed, and I no longer remember someone who was so inconsequential. After hearing me, Sophia Taylor's expression immediately dimmed, and she said regretfully, Sai's just like his father, even worse than his father. Seeing her in that miserable state, Memories from those youthful days involuntarily surfaced in my mind. I'm living with Jake, not with his father. He loves me. Please, I beg you, let us be together. But what difference is there now between the outcome and what we once expected? Parents are a child's first teachers. Dragons beget dragons. Phoenixes beget phoenixes, and a mouse's son will dig holes. There's reason to that saying. Children often turn out to be like the kind of parents they have. Jake Miller, in the end, still became the kind of man he hated most in his father. Although I helped stir the pot back then, it seems now that even without me, he would have turned out this way sooner or later. Sophia Taylor covered her face, large tears slipping through her fingers. What kind of sin have I committed? How could I have been so bewitched at the time, insisting on going with him? Wawawa for such a beast. I nearly caused my own mother's death. I'm really as stupid as they come. She cried and cried, then suddenly lifted her head as if clutching at a last straw. Ethan Johnson, I regret it. I was wrong. Are you still single? Could we start over? She didn't finish her sentence before she stopped, because a dignified and elegant woman appeared behind me. Honey, is this your friend? A classmate from before. My wife smiled and reached out her hand to Sophia Taylor. My name is Olivia Johnson. Sophia Taylor hesitated for a moment, then shakily reached out her hand. My name is Sophia Taylor. After exchanging greetings, my wife smiled and straightened my collar. Honey, you two talk first. I'll wait for you in the car. No need. There's nothing to talk about. Let's go. Only Sophia Taylor was left, standing dazed in the wind. She clearly heard it. So why doesn't she care at all? My wife and I walk hand in hand to the car. She was still like she was in college, with a bit of girlish coquettishness. You dare to fight me for a man? Maybe take a good look at yourself in the mirror, see if you're even worthy. My wife is a typical girl from Sichuan, Chongqing. Fair-skinned, well-built, with a somewhat feisty personality. All right. I really admire you, my little vinegar jar, my little chili. Sitting in the car, listening to classical music, my thoughts drifted away. People can be taught, but some things can't be taught. Once is enough for matters that need to be taught. Back then, everyone had earnestly advised her. Mrs. Taylor even nearly knelt to her, but in the end, they still couldn't win her heart back. Now, the fist of reality felt like Jake Miller's hands, beating her until she wept bitterly, full of regret. Just then, the phone rang. It was that somewhat familiar, unknown number. Brother Ethan, I regret it. If we hadn't separated back then, would the person by your side be me? Thinking of how in my past life I cherished her like a treasure, only to be cruelly murdered by her in the end, but in this life fate has repaid me 100-fold, even 1,000-fold. For a moment, my heart was filled with mixed emotions and deep reflection. My wife beside me, however, snatched the phone away as soon as she heard it. You? As if you deserve it. Yeah, everyone's been reborn. Who would still like the childhood sweetheart school beauty?